The warning. The message arrived without warning, piercing through the encrypted communications network of the Dreikel Empire like a needle through silk. Simple, direct, and utterly perplexing. Do not attack the humans. They will never let you go. Supreme Commander Vexilon stood on the command deck of the inevitable conquest, his 6 eyes narrowing as he studied the transmission. His iridescent scales shifted from deep blue to a contemplative purple while his lower arms tapped rhythmically against the polished surface of his tactical station. Analysis, he demanded. Chief Intelligence Officer Mira's tendrils flickered with uncertainty. Unknown origin, sir. The transmission bypassed all our security protocols as if they didn't exist. We can't trace it. And these, humans, a species from a relatively insignificant planet in the spiral arm of the Milky Way, technologically primitive by our standards. They've barely managed interplanetary travel within their own system. Vexilon's scales rippled with amusement. Then why the warning? Unknown, sir. The Supreme Commander swept his upper arm in dismissal. Add this Earth to our expansion route. Class 3 assessment. We'll determine if they have any resources worth harvesting. And a warning, sir. Vexilon's mouthparts clicked together in what passed for laughter among the Dreikel. If someone is concerned enough to warn us away, perhaps these humans have something valuable after all. The Dreikel scout vessels entered Earth's solar system with practiced efficiency, cloaking technologies rendering them invisible to Earth's detection systems. They positioned themselves in high orbit, gathering data and transmitting it back to the fleet. Fascinating, muttered Science Director Zilith as she reviewed the data. They've polluted their atmosphere, fought countless wars among themselves, and yet they persist. Their resilience is notable. Vexilon didn't share her academic interest. Threat assessment. Negligible. Their most advanced weapons couldn't penetrate our shields. Their military forces are fragmented across nation-states. They have no unified planetary defense. Resources. Abundant water, diverse minerals, rich biodiversity. Perfect for harvesting, then, Vexilon decided. Send the diplomatic envoy. The Dreikel's idea of diplomacy involved overwhelming shows of force followed by terms of surrender. When their massive mothership suddenly appeared over New York City, pandemonium erupted. The vessel dwarfed the tallest buildings, casting an enormous shadow as it hovered with impossible silence. Vexilon addressed Earth's leaders via hijacked broadcast signals, his translated voice echoing from every electronic device capable of producing sound. People of Earth, I am Supreme Commander Vexilon of the Dreikel Empire. Your planet has been selected for integration into our domain. Surrender your resources peacefully, and a portion of your population will be preserved as a labor force. Resist, and we will take what we want regardless. The response came swiftly, not from world leaders still scrambling to comprehend the situation, but from a New York City police helicopter that approached the mothership. Without warning, it fired its entire arsenal at the alien vessel. The weapons did no damage, of course. The mothership's shields absorbed the attack without so much as a flicker. Vexilon ordered immediate retaliation. The pulse beam that shot from the ship vaporized not just the helicopter, but several floors of a nearby skyscraper. Let this be a lesson, Vexilon announced. Resistance is. He never finished the sentence. From multiple locations around the city, surface-to-air missiles launched simultaneously. Again, they couldn't penetrate the shields, but the coordinated response surprised him. They're more organized than our intelligence suggested, Mira observed. It changes nothing, Vexilon replied. Begin the first harvest zone. The initial invasion targeted major cities across 6 continents simultaneously. Dreikel ground forces, encased in advanced battle armor, expected minimal resistance. They were wrong. Humanity, despite its divisions, responded with unexpected unity and ferocity. Conventional military forces engaged the aliens directly, while civilians formed resistance groups overnight. Every advantage the Dreikel possessed in technology was countered by humans' intimate knowledge of their environment and their sheer, stubborn refusal to submit. In Shanghai, Chinese forces lured Dreikel troops into the subway system, then flooded the tunnels. In Rio de Janeiro, guerrilla fighters created ingenious traps using everyday materials. In London, the underground became a labyrinthine nightmare for the invaders. After 72 hours, what should have been a simple subjugation had turned into a costly quagmire. This is unexpected. Vexillon admitted as casualty reports flooded in. Why are they fighting so hard? They must know they cannot win. Zilith, who had been studying human history and culture, looked up from her data screens. Sir, I believe I understand the warning now. These humans, they don't surrender. Their entire history is filled with examples of smaller forces defeating technologically superior opponents through sheer determination and adaptability. Examples: the Greek stand at Thermopylae, the Vietnamese resistance against American forces, countless indigenous populations that fought colonial powers. Even when they lose, they never truly surrender. They adapt, they hide, they continue fighting. Vexillon's scales darkened. They are vermin, nothing more. Sir, with respect, that attitude may be our downfall. There's something else you should see. She displayed intercepts of human communications from around the globe. Scientists sharing research freely across borders. Military strategies being exchanged between former enemies. Resources being pooled. They're learning about us, Zilith explained. Analyzing our weapons, our tactics, our biology. They're adaptive in ways we never anticipated. It doesn't matter, Vexillon insisted. We'll escalate. Orbital bombardment of their military installations. We'll break their will. Mira's tendrils twisted anxiously. Sir, the warning. What if? Enough about the warning. Begin the bombardment. The orbital attacks destroyed military bases, government buildings, and infrastructure. The Dreikel expected submission. Instead, humanity went underground, literally and figuratively. A global communication network, cobbled together from remnants of the internet and improvised technologies, kept resistance cells connected. Scientists worked around the clock to understand alien technology from captured equipment. Engineers repurposed everyday items into weapons. 6 months into what should have been a routine conquest, the Dreikel found themselves in an unprecedented situation. They controlled the skies, but not the ground. Their harvest operations were constantly disrupted by attacks. Supply lines were ambushed. Individual Dreikel soldiers disappeared without trace. We've lost another harvester, Mira reported. That's the third this week. Vexillon's scales had taken on a permanent ashen hue. How? We had a full security detail. The humans have developed some kind of localized EMP device. It temporarily disabled the harvester's shields. Then they used mining explosives to breach the hull. Mining explosives. They're attacking our advanced technology with primitive bombs. Sir, Zilith interjected, that's what makes them so dangerous. They use what they have. They improvise. And they're getting better at it. They're reverse engineering our technology at an alarming rate. Vexillon stared at the holographic display of Earth. What should have been a map dominated by Dreikel control zones was instead a patchwork, with human resistance flaring across every continent. The warning, he said quietly. They will never let you go. For the first time since the invasion began, Supreme Commander Vexillon felt something unfamiliar. Doubt. The reckoning. 1 year into the war, Earth was scared but unbowed. Major cities lay in ruins, yet human resistance grew stronger. What the Dreikel failed to understand was that each attack, each atrocity, only hardened humanity's resolve. In makeshift laboratories beneath the rubble of universities and research centers, scientists made breakthrough after breakthrough. Captured alien technology was dissected, understood, and improved upon with human ingenuity. The Dreikel's technological advantage was eroding. General Maya Rodriguez, once a theoretical physicist before the invasion, now led the Global Defense Initiative. a unified command structure that coordinated resistance worldwide. In her underground headquarters beneath the Andes Mountains, she studied the latest intelligence reports. "They're pulling back from secondary cities," her aide reported, "consolidating around their primary harvest operations." Maya nodded grimly. "They're adapting too. But we have something they don't." "What's that, General?" "Nothing to lose." The turning point came unexpectedly. A team of Australian Aboriginal guides led resistance fighters through seemingly impassable terrain to the location of a key Drykel communication relay. Instead of destroying it, they modified it, inserting a virus created by a coalition of international programmers. The virus spread through the Drykel network like wildfire, corrupting navigation systems and causing catastrophic failures in their automated defense protocols. Suddenly, the hunters became the hunted. On board the inevitable conquest, alarms blared as systems failed. "What's happening?" Vexilon demanded. "Some kind of cyber attack," Mira reported, her tendrils writhing in distress. "It's like nothing we've ever encountered. The code keeps changing, adapting to our countermeasures." "Impossible. Their technology is primitive." "Their technology, yes," Zilith observed quietly. "But not their minds." The Supreme Commander's scales flushed an angry red. "Launch all fighters. Target their largest population centers. We'll end this now." But when the fighter squadrons deployed, they found themselves facing a new threat. Humans had modified captured Drykel weapons and mounted them on their own aircraft. The resulting hybrid fighters were unpredictable, maneuverable, and deadly effective. In the skies over what was once Seoul, the first squadron of Drykel fighters was ambushed. Half were destroyed before they could engage their targets. "How is this possible?" Vexilon raged. "They were savages just months ago." "You underestimated them," Zilith said. "We all did." As the tide turned, human forces grew bolder. They didn't just defend, they attacked. Harvest operations were systematically targeted and destroyed. Drykel ground forces found themselves surrounded and cut off from support. In a desperate bid to regain control, Vexilon ordered the deployment of Omega-class weapons, planet killers that would render large portions of Earth uninhabitable but preserve the core resources they sought to harvest. "Sir," Mira protested, "this violates Imperial protocols for resource worlds." "I don't care about protocols. These humans must be taught their place." The order went out, but the weapons never launched. Unbeknownst to Drykel Command, humans had infiltrated their command structure. Resistance fighters, wearing skin shields developed from captured Drykel technology, had replaced key personnel. When the Omega weapons were brought online, they were sabotaged from within. The resulting cascade of failures crippled the Drykel fleet's offensive capabilities. Vexilon watched in horror as the holographic display showed human forces converging on Drykel positions worldwide. His scales had faded to a sickly gray. "The warning," he whispered. "We should have heeded it." General Rodriguez stood on a hillside overlooking what had once been Los Angeles. The Drykel mothership that had dominated the skyline for months now lay partially embedded in the ground, its once sleek surface scarred and breached in a dozen places. Her communicator buzzed. "General, we've secured the command deck. Supreme Commander Vexilon is requesting to speak with our leadership." "On my way." Inside the downed ship, Maya found the alien leader surrounded by human soldiers. His magnificent scales had dulled, and 2 of his 6 limbs were bound in medical stabilizers. "You've won nothing," Vexilon said when she entered. "The Empire will send more ships when we fail to report back." Maya studied him thoughtfully. "You still don't understand us, do you? We intercepted your distress calls months ago. We've been broadcasting false reports to your Empire ever since, telling them that Earth was successfully harvested and not worth maintaining an occupation force." Vexilon's eyes widened. "Impossible. We also sent our own message," she continued. "To every corner of the galaxy, on every frequency we could access through your communication network." "What message?" Maya leaned closer. "The same one you received. Do not attack the humans. They will never let you go. Only now, we added evidence. Detailed records of your failed invasion. Specifications of your supposedly superior technology that we improved upon. Documentation of how an allegedly primitive species defeated the mighty Drickle Empire. For the first time, Vexilon understood true fear. What do you want? What we've always wanted. To be left alone. But thanks to you, we now know we're not alone in the universe, and we know there are threats out there. She gestured to the human scientists already dismantling Drickle technology throughout the ship. Your invasion gave us something we've never had before, Maya continued. Unity, purpose, and the stars. Vexilon's mouthparts clicked weakly. You'll never be accepted among the galactic community. You're too unpredictable, too dangerous. Maya smiled, though there was no warmth in it. Good. That was precisely the message we wanted to send. In the decades that followed, humanity rebuilt and expanded. The technology salvaged from the Drickle fleet accelerated Earth's development by centuries. United by the memory of the invasion, the nations of Earth formed a single government for interstellar matters while maintaining their cultural identities. The first human interstellar vessels were launched within 10 years. They carried diplomats and scientists, but also powerful weapons developed from Drickle technology. As for Supreme Commander Vexilon, he lived out his days on Earth, confined but treated humanely. He became a reluctant cultural ambassador, helping humans understand the wider galactic community they would soon join. Sometimes, in the quiet hours of night, he would stare at the stars and wonder about the origin of that first warning. Who had sent it? How had they known what would happen? He never found the answer. But across the galaxy, other species received a new message, accompanied by detailed accounts of the Drickle defeat. The humans are coming. They do not seek conquest, but neither will they surrender. Meet them as equals or not at all. And in distant corners of space, advanced civilizations that had observed the conflict from afar nodded in satisfaction. The test had been passed. Humanity was ready for the next chapter. The warning had served its purpose.